emotions come all the time. We express emotions all the time. This doesn't mean that we're now like working on some trauma or something. Like expression of emotion happens every day, and that's not a release in the sense of something unique. Like it comes, the energy travels, it goes, and then it's out. It's out your system and done. The release like is really means like something new somehow. Something that you maybe weren't comfortable before expressing.
Surush, you wanted to kick it off, right?
I would like to kick it up. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, wait. Leon, are you good?
I would like to do some like breath work, like some slight breathing, because I feel like I'm feel like a little bit more calmer, and I feel like you're like really activated. So I'm like, oh shit, man, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all doing breath work.
Change the session to a breathwork session.
Oh yeah, no, let's go.
Okay. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hearts Wide Open. Today I'm here with Dennis and a very great host, Leon, that we're gonna later introduce. But hi, Leon. Before we're jumping into the podcast, I just wanted to give some quick announcement on our socials. That it means a lot for us if you listen to our podcast. Give us a 5-star on Spotify. It doesn't take that much of your time, but for us it's a lot of value because we are doing this on a weekend for free to just raise awareness and help men to get in touch with themselves, be more vulnerable, and provide this safe space. So give us a 5-star on Spotify if you like it. Share the podcast with your friends. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Leon on Instagram. We will also add his socials at the end.
Welcome everybody. From the first moment I met Leon, I got caught by his energy. He's extremely positive, has a lot of bubbly energy. At some point he just came and tackled me as well in the camp. It was super fun. Met last year in summer at one of the big retreats I went to, the Gathering. Yeah, we were tent neighbors in the camp. And always also looking a little bit for that physical exchange when we meet in person. So that's also something I really cherish. Leon has done a lot of stuff with crypto, but currently he's practicing to become an emotional release practitioner or coach or trainer. He's already working remote in Kopangan, and he's in the process of also starting his business. So yeah, we're going to have his website and all the links in the show notes. So make sure to check him out. But without further ado, I want to give a warm welcome to Leon. Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. That was a very beautiful introduction. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, how was that for you? How was that for you? That like when we met, like I actually don't know your impression of me.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we met at the Gathering, which was in August last year, and I don't know. I had no idea what to expect there at the Gathering and everything. And I think I saw you already. We met already at the train station, right? So we walked together. So it was like a warm, like here now. It was like a warm welcome. I felt like you were like really open, like I don't know, we instantly connected, I felt, and then we put our tent next to each other. It was so funny. You had like such a small tent that that I remember vividly. You had like you could barely fit in there or something.
Why are you tent shaming me?
No, this is not like real shaming. Like
no.
It's not about the size of the tent. It's about how you use it.
Yeah, and it was one of those Harry Potter tents that's actually super huge inside once you get in.
A Harry Potter tent.
Yeah, you know, like in Harry Potter, like they have this tiny tent and then they go inside and it's like this huge apartment, basically.
I do,
Inside.
I do. Okay. If you say so, we believe you.
Sure. Nice.
Mm.
Yeah, Leon. Yeah, I already mentioned it a bit, but you are currently in Kopangan, right?
Yes, exactly.
Do you want to tell
Looking.
us a bit what you're doing
Sure.
there?
I'm looking at the ocean right now. You can't see, but like the sun is gonna set now, and it's a nice spot, obviously. Like Thailand, really warm, nice climate, and it's my first time on the island, like during the high season. Like the first time we came in 2018, when like backpacking and doing like my world trip. I went to the full moon party. I don't know if anybody knows the full moon party from Kopangan, but it's like the most known thing. Yeah, but now I'm like mostly here for the community, to be honest. There are like lots of German people, lots of people in the kind of like new age, spirituality, healing, coaching, like men showing themselves vulnerable. Actually, right after the podcast here, I'm going to a man circle. So this is like right aligned, so to say. And yeah, it's pretty nice here. Like enjoying the life quality here, and yeah, trying to like get this emotional release thing a bit going also. And
Nice.
since I can like be flexible in the location, this is a nice place to go that with like-minded people around, you know.
How long have you been in Thailand, in Kopangan?
It's 1 month now. Like
1 month.
I'm just coming here for the high season, you know. Like last year, I think I was still going to lots of places, especially like during the summer, like going to the Gathering, Burning Man retreats, like emotional release education, Turkey, Portugal. So I'm often still on the road. So so since one month here.
So, like you've mentioned it, and I've mentioned it as well. Emotional release. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Like, first of all, like how did you get into that yourself, and then, but then also like what is actually emotional release? I can imagine a little bit like you're releasing emotions, or like that's in the name. But how would you describe this? Yeah, just give us a little bit of a rundown. Why do you think it's relevant? What happens? What do you do?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, actually, the event that we met, like the gathering, it was also like very close to like emotional release, because the people that organized it, they are also teaching at the like in the education and everything. So yeah, it's a new thing for me. So since like around now like 6-7 months, I'm into that. And for me, it's really like, I think I've shared this already, but it's like a completely new world opening up with emotional release. Like it's the world of the body, of feeling, of like somatics. It's almost like a new paradigm for me opening up, because like growing up in Germany, like it tends to be like a little bit more cold, or I always felt like there's like a lack of emotional expression, or like space to really show yourself in that. I feel like it's more like like rational, like also survival. Like we need to survive. Society has to run and everything. But for me, like now, like experiencing this and even like learning to the tools to create that space for others to feel safe and explore their emotions, this is really, really beautiful, and really what this work centers around. So creating safety to really feel what's present, or feel emotions. And so in a sense, it's like a form of therapy, like I've seen you've had like many like psychotherapists and like like really, really smart people already on the podcast. And the thing is, for me, that never really resonated that much. like, you know, like going to uni, studying psychology. Like I'm not so good with like, I don't know, pushing something through and, you know, like learning all the things about the nervous system and like really going like super detailed in there. I'm more like this, like intuitive guy.
learning.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more this like emotional energy and so on. So I feel like I've really found my home a little bit in this work. And so I came to it a bit over the whole like personal development coaching bubble. So I did like mentorings before, you know, like going traveling, and had this like natural draw to like wanting to understand myself and the world, like or like life in general, like what can you do, you know, like how to be successful, like mindset, what are my values, what type of people do I want to be around, like all this, like, you know, listening to podcasts. This was a bit like was the opening for me, but it was still a little bit more on the like mental level, you know, like really like reflecting, like, okay, what do I want from life, what I want to do. And now what changed is like really working with the body, working with the emotions, and it's almost like a deeper level that helps people, or has helped myself also, to really change or you know, break blockages which you can't get to so well with only working from the mind and this like top down a bit. This was like a slight overview yet.
Yeah, so maybe like I think it still sounds a bit vague to me. I mean, it's a huge thing as well, like emotional release, and I think it's also harder to explain because indeed it's not something that you go to university for. You can read about it all in the books because it's kind of a new thing. I don't think we've been doing it a few hundred years ago, you know? But so we had a trauma therapist on the podcast as well before, and I actually also spoke about you with her afterwards. And then just to also get a bit of a picture of what is trauma, what is emotional release, how do they work together. But the way she explained it to me was a bit like, okay, so trauma is something that, for example, could have happened in your childhood to you, like a big event that left a mark on you and that made you feel a certain way. And now your body gets wired to react the next time this event happens, to react in that way again. And this can be positive or negative trauma. Now, emotional release is the body responds to the trauma or to the thing happening. So, for example, a certain event brings tension in my shoulders back. And now emotional like trauma would be to look at, okay, where does this come from? Which event triggered this? And how are you going to like deal with this on a mental level? And then emotional release, as far as I understand it, is more on the body. So you're like really, through breathing or through some movement, you get into a space where you can really let that, like, maybe it's anxiety, let's call it anxiety, that anxiety being present and like kind of welcome it with open arms and just let it flow and thereby release it from the body, from the trauma. Like, I don't know if that's a good explanation. Please correct me.
I mean, it already goes pretty much in a very good direction. So let's be a bit more concrete, you know, lots of like substance, like how do you get to it? So, I mean, trauma on some level gets stored in the body. So you have like certain maybe like tensions in the body, or certain areas which are then affected by the trauma. So in the sense, like every trauma has a frequency that stays somewhere in the body. And so you can sort of open a trauma container by working with the body, or going into that. And of course the memory about that trauma is like stored in the brain, in the how's it called, hyper I don't know exactly the area, but like all the memories, the smells, the sights, whatever happened during that is also stored in the brain, but also it's stored in the body. And in the sense, you know, in the trauma, during this traumatic event, it was like there was not enough safety, or it was too uncomfortable to feel what was present in that moment. So like the awareness kind of goes out. No, we can't feel that now. So we have to put it in a container, store it in a body, in a sense, for later. You hear me?
Yeah.
and then you can go into that again. Like when we create that safety in the now, we can go into that again and process the emotions which are stored in that trauma container. And processing the emotions is not gonna like make the trauma like go away, like not you having this difficult experience, for example, but it sort of say releases the charge or releases the issue that you have in your day to day, because in your day to day probably like you get triggered, for example, like something happens and you feel scared, like, oh shit, this is not safe, like somebody's attacking me here, like what do you want? And then there might be like, you tense up, like, and there might be like anger, like, wow, what do you want here from me? But actually it's like you being triggered, something in you being activated, and it's not the other person that is causing, like, is the root of that.
And why do you think because I was thinking about what Dennis mentioned, that maybe in the past emotional release wasn't a thing. But I don't know, I feel like maybe in the past people were more okay with past. I'm talking about before the new age and the engineering, and I'm talking about when tribal life and stuff like that. I feel like, I don't know, maybe don't you think back then it was more okay to release your emotion? Because I'm thinking what you mentioned right now, if you feel that way, why don't you express it? Because I feel like when you don't express it, you keep it in that container that you mentioned, and the container keeps getting full. And then my question is, why do you think people do not express their emotion or the feelings that they have?
So I would agree. Like if you look at a child, for example, a child expresses the emotions which are present for them. Like emotions in general, they are just like signs of our body to kind of signal what's going on. Like we get angry when our boundaries of our body or like ego get crossed. Like, okay, we have to defend ourselves here. Or we get sad when we lose connection. So emotional expression is super natural as humans. So a child always does it. It's just through like being raised and, society, it kind of gets drilled out of us. Like, no, don't be loud here now. Like sit still. Like, no, this is not appropriate. Like, stop crying. Like, or anger also. Like, you get punished for expressing your anger. You don't get loved for it. You get you don't get witnessed in your emotion. Really, much of emotional release is witnessing the other person in their essence or in their emotional expression, just giving space to express or let go of what needed to be held in and hold on to because it wasn't safe in the past. So totally, I think in like tribal living and so on, there was more space for that with like rituals, dancing can also be a form of emotional release. But I feel like in our society today, we've kind of grown a bit disconnected from the body. Like we don't value the body so much anymore. It's more like, mind over matter. Like, yeah, you have to push through, like push your limits, work hard, be intelligent. We all went through school, for example. We all went probably through like 10, 11, 12 years of school where you maybe weren't interested in what the teacher was presenting, but you kind of had to endure it. So this is, like either you maybe like hold it in, or also one way, for example, could be dissociating. Like it's you feel like really uncomfortable, like, hey, I want to get out here. This doesn't feel right somehow, but you can't escape. So your mind just drifts off and goes into a fantasy world a little bit. So we have many coping mechanisms, so to say. And also it's not what I find also important to mention, like when we are like looking, for example, at like the Instagram, you see now like many videos of people like screaming, crying, a lot of this like catharsis element, like expression. But this is expression. This is not per se the release, like release is more of this element of letting go, like something that was for example, uncomfortable before, allowing that, or for the first time allowing yourself to feel that helplessness, for example, like falling into that. It's almost like a little bit like a death. It's not only like screaming like more, but there's also this element of containment, for example, like just witnessing, okay, how do I feel now, and holding that. So maybe also on that sense.
It's interesting, but I didn't get the difference between the expression and the release.
So when I look at like people screaming and people crying, it's really this catharsis element. Its energy is moving. Energy that was stuck and held before is traveling freely again. Like, finally I can cry. Shit. And that can be like a release, like you release something that you hold on to, that you hold in your body, this tension. But this does not mean per se that we now changed something or like heal the trauma, because emotions come all the time. We express emotions all the time. This doesn't mean that we're now like working on some trauma or something. Like expression of emotion happens every day, and that's not a release in the sense of something unique. Like it comes, the energy travels, it goes, and then it's out, it's out your system and done. The release is really means like something new somehow, something that you maybe weren't comfortable before expressing. Like maybe you had so much shame about taking up a lot of space. You were always like the gray mouse in the corner, especially for women. This is more the case, like playing small, like the older sister that has to take care of her little siblings, that has to be like so old already, so mature, that doesn't have space for individuality. Like, maybe wants to also rebel or something, but there's no space for that. Then it's like held in. And then if that person, for example, gets enough safety and really we can like get that energy moving, and then there's shame and then she finally allows herself to express that. That's more of that release. That's like like something new is happening. In emotional release, we're really looking for this repairing of the nervous system, or it's similar to like other therapy modalities. It's not unique. I think what's special about emotional release is that we work more with like higher charge. We don't like go only analyzing like with the mind, but we go into the body, we go into the energy, and really like try to get it moving again. So what I define as a release is like really this repairing of the nervous system. Like a new option is open. Something that wasn't possible before is now suddenly possible. When before people, for example, would go over my boundaries, I would always feel helpless and feel like a victim and like, oh shit, I don't know what to do, like shut down, like go together. And now we've uncovered, for example, okay, there's also another alternative to feeling helpless in this moment. You could also feel your power and like use your anger towards you to create a boundary, and then that's power. That's like the opposite from victim consciousness. That's creator consciousness. It's not like my life is happening to me, others did this to me, I'm a victim of my surroundings, but I'm a creator of my life. I have agency. I'm choosing this. This is really where the energy where we want to go to. And powerlessness is a huge thing. Like really in our society, or also like what I heard in the other episode, like many people don't feel like they have power, like they have agency, like so much is happening around the world, like it's overwhelming, but we don't really feel like we can do anything about this. So much of like society, the systems, the institutions, the school are kind of like putting us in a place, and we don't have so much control of like changing that somehow. So regaining that power, like integrating that anger, is really this is like one of the deepest things, honestly. Like anger and sexuality are like one of the like most held back things. Like now we're getting more permission, for example, for men to cry. Like this is becoming a bit more like common. But really like for me, my emotional release sessions, which I've received, most of them were around power. Like for me, it's often really about this like power center here, like solar plexus, like feeling that I'm strong enough, that I can hold it. Also like shame, you know, like I have this anxiety or this like tendency for shame, like in school, like always it's always with me in the sense, and really feeling that power, it's almost like the antidote to that. It's like the integrated version of that.
Beautiful. And so like, yeah, you're currently giving emotional release sessions in person on Kopangan, but you're also doing this virtually. Do you also, because like what you all the things you explained is like emotional release is not something you need to necessarily schedule a session for. You can also have emotional release in your day-to-day in different situations by repatterning, rewiring your nervous system. And then maybe I understood a bit differently.
So I would say like for practicing, you know, integration, like doing the decisions every day, it's also not you do a session with me and then you're suddenly healed or all the problems are gone. Like it needs an integration. It needs everyday decisions, like creating a life that is suitable for you, or that is like a state of dignity, you know, like when you're in an abusive relationship, you do a session and you go back to that relationship without changing anything, you're going to feel shit again 1 week later, and there's going to be tension again. So I think, really emotional expression or letting the energy through or feel, you know, connect with your body. Everybody can do that. And it's a journey, but really this like deep dying process that needs to be facilitated, because it's difficult to create that safety for yourself, you know. Like the nervous system is like it wasn't already safe once in the past, so why should it be safe now just because I like sit down and I don't know, decide now that I want to release something. So what is needed in a sense to repattern or create this like deep release change is always resources. It needs safety. So that can be breath work, for example. You know, if you breathe, you also go into your unconscious. Your emotions come up. You know, like things are shifting. Or it could be touch. You know, like working with the body. Or it could just be another person that's holding you, that's witnessing you, that's like an anchor for you to co-regulate on. So this like deeper processes, they need to be facilitated because it is like dying.
Okay.
You have to let go.
Because then you need someone basically there holding the space, making sure that like there's someone there to take things over. Also, things can go sideways, etc. Right?
It's not only if you have like a panic attack or if you like freeze or like something extreme. It's really witnessing the unwitnessed. It's presence. You know, like why are emotions blocked in the body? Because we do not want to feel that, because it's too uncomfortable to feel it. Our presence is like withdrawn for that. It's in our subconscious. So we're not even aware that it's there. You know, like I probably have some like spooky shadows in my basement that I'm not aware of, because it's like my ego is making sure no this we keep under the rug. This is the no Leon, we don't want this out, you know. So it's really adding that presence. It's almost like we bring in more safety, more presence, more light, to bring light into the shadow and bring that out. So it's also about, you know, presence. So one of the most beautiful work is also that you can do in groups, like healing in groups, like working with emotions. I can like share. For me, it's also difficult for me as a space holder, because then like I need to, for example, co-regulate again, or get like a hug or somebody, or like where I can let go again, you know, where I'm not holding the space. So if you really go down to it, it's almost like if you go down the rabbit hole, it almost like brings you to the question, like how should we live? How should we live as humans? Like how what would be the best way to live as humans? Is it like how we live now, or would it be more in like like deeper connection somehow, like maybe in like tribes, or like bringing in more physical contact again, more safety in the body? So I feel like we're getting isolated also a little bit in our society today.
I know we tried something on our call before this, but I was thinking maybe we could do something as a group, since we are a group. Yeah, what do you think? Do you have an exercise for us that we could do with the three of us, where we can experience emotional release a little bit, or like, yeah.
So one cool topic of emotional release, or like the compass, so to say, what you work with, like the intuition, is like the sense of resonance. So for example, if I look at Surush now, he looks a little bit like he's like in his mind, like drifting off a little bit, or like, nah, this is not so interesting, or I can't really follow it. So in like resonance, it's about trying to like drop into the body and talk from this place of authenticity, what is like really alive for you right now. And that's like away from concepts. That's like, I feel a little bit fear right now that what I say might not be like smart or interesting, or that Surush is like, I don't know, they get judged by Surush or something. Like I feel a little bit vulnerable, like on the spot. And the exercise would be, I think, to like drop a little bit into the body and try to share from this like place of authenticity. And this is super nice to listen to, because it's not concepts, like this is how you can easily like upgrade a conversation which you have with a friend. When you feel like it's not going the right way, it's like centering a little bit, and then trying to like speak from this radical truth of what is present right now. And that resonates. Others can feel you then. It's like feeling each other. And that's what I would invite right now. So maybe you want to start, Surush, and just what's present for you right now.
For me, it was. I was thinking about what you were saying, and I was thinking, because for me, I do value a lot actually authenticity. I'm a person that I like. If you don't like me, I rather you tell me in my face that you don't like me, in comparison that act good with me, because I feel like I have a good intuition, and if you're acting like you like me, I would understand it, and I would distance myself from your unauthentic self. And I value when people express their emotions. So when you were saying that, I was thinking about this concept of release and expression. So when you were talking, I was constantly thinking, and I was wondering, what is the outcome of emotional release, or this expression? And I was thinking, basically, when you were talking, I go back to my memories and an understanding, and I try to make this kind of reason in life that why I'm this is the curious side of me that try to make sense of everything, as why do you feel this way, why Surush feels this way, why Surush doesn't express himself in this way. And so I was a lot in that mental space, and it also brought me to a thought I had yesterday, that, as I said, I feel like for myself I have a good gut feeling and intuition that is something is going to work out or not. But yesterday I was thinking that sometimes I know something from my gut, I know something is not going to work out. But my brain tries to convince my intuition that, hey, Surush, but maybe if you try it for 2 more weeks, maybe if you give it that, if you do that, maybe it works out. And then I do see myself trying, and I try and I try and I try. But at the end, I feel like most of the time it doesn't work out. Because it's like something that within me, I never accepted it and didn't want to accept it. So no matter what.
Can I interrupt
Sure.
you? So thanks for sharing about that.
Of course.
So what I felt is it's still a little bit difficult for me to listen to that. Like what you just shared, because you shared like for, like thinking about your mind and like what I also what really resonate, like gaslighting your intuition. Like intuition
Sure.
is like saying one thing and then your mind says the other.
Yeah.
But let's just try like what do you feel right now?
What do I feel right now? Maybe afraid. Yeah.
And now I have goosebumps.
Quite powerful indeed. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling it too.
How do you guys feel?
I don't know. Leon, is it time to move the attention away from Surush?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just trying to showcase this resonance concept here. I think this was like just very beautiful. When we repress emotions, or when we like try to like hold something up, it's draining a little bit. Also for others to listen to, because it doesn't come like so right in. But when we show ourselves authentically with our emotions, it just hits you. It like hits your nervous system different. Like in like the people from emotional release in like Germany say that das ballert, Ballerbruder. It's like oder schallert anders. It's like it goes like right in, and it's easier to feel.
Different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It hits you different, and this is the power of like dropping into your emotional body, and it's really a dropping. Because like the head is like up here, like, no, really, I'm smart, like, but many times like the mind tries to like find solutions for really an emotional thing. So if we can create safety for like emotional expression, like my experience is really everything falls into place.
It's so powerful also just to see the different two examples. The first one where Surush was very much in his head, like talking about like intention, what I was thinking yesterday, what I'm thinking tomorrow. And then the other one was really short, just afraid. But that hits so hard, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like one word versus so many sentences, but it's so much more powerful.
And it's also not wrong. Like I sometimes like catch myself also like now working with emotional release that I'm like a bit, judgmental to like, I want the emotional expression, but I don't want the mind so much. But it is really true. Like I feel like when we show ourselves in our emotions, like it's so much easier to like love or connect with the other person. Like just being vulnerable, I feel like is already enough to receive love or attention. Like I like you a little bit more now, Surush, I gotta say. Because I can grasp you, like it's like we're all human. Like we're like act like so smart, but yeah, so
How was this experience for you, Surush? Like yeah.
This, I feel like it was the way you coached me. I feel like it was just what I explained, like the way you feel versus what your mind is trying to convey the message to the other. So I felt maybe afraid, or I felt like I have a lot of unknown. And then I was explaining it, but maybe the core emotion that I felt was really afraid of unknown and maybe don't know a lot of things. That's how I felt. So, and yeah, sometimes I don't want to accept it. This is the part for me. Sometimes I do, but also sometimes just I don't want to accept how I feel, and it's the part that my brain is like, 1 more week, 2 more weeks. But I think, yeah, sometimes you just have to give in to the emotion and not try to add so much logic on top of it. So this is how I felt when you called my bullshit.
Did you feel like
tell
you
me.
were caught or something? Like spotlight's on now?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but as I said, I like to get caught. I don't. I like people to be honest in my face, to say, "Hey, don't bullshit. Say how you feel."
Thanks, man. Thanks for
Thank you.
sharing that.
Thank you, Leon, for catching.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
And beautiful what you said. Like I can wholeheartedly agree. Like that's really what it's about. Like allowing emotions, and then the body relaxes. You know,
Yeah.
like then it's almost like you unlock a superpower, because
That
then
is
you're
true.
like dropping, and then I can, like you said, that you have a good gut feeling, for example, like it comes a bit natural for you. Like this gets even more, like I can maybe like show the way a bit, like why would you like do this, like emotional release, like why would you heal your trauma? It's like you unlock new levels of being, or like embodiment, like feeling your body. It's like this like resonance a little bit, what I like showed now, like okay, here feel like this just got stronger for me, or is it completely new actually for me over the last months. Before I couldn't tell you if I'm now in my mind, or like I didn't notice, but then you notice with yourself, and then you notice also with others, and the reward are deeper intimacy, deeper connections with your friends, not being triggered with your family, for example, like deeper connection with your family, not because they have to change, like not because they are now suddenly becoming the way you want to have them, but because you drop the triggers, like you drop the load, you don't tense up your body anymore, and you're more in like acceptance, and that way you also give them the permission to accept you more. Like it's like it's really, it's good stuff.
Interesting. How do you tap into this acceptance?
I
would
think it
say
requires a lot of work, no? Like
I would say the first thing is to notice how you feel, like
Yeah.
creating an awareness for your body. So like, for example, doing meditation, also like sitting down and feeling really into your body, like moving your attention into your body. We do that, for example, at the beginning of an emotional release session. We first do like a body scan, and we most oftenly like end in the heart with the awareness, because the heart is really like the central processing unit for emotions. So if you can, like, I don't know, drop a little bit in your body, and just be like open, not so like loosen up, like drop the shoulders and like, okay, what's present now? Oh shit, this is uncomfortable. There's some sadness here. And then just being present with that. So it helps to be with other people, like creating that safety. It much of this work like you do with others, because like trauma was created in relationship, you know, like you didn't get a need, for example, fulfilled from your mother, you know, and so we kind of also need to heal it in relationship. But for ourselves, we can still do the work like every day and make sure that we're like connecting with our body, like checking in, like, hey, it's somehow, how does it feel right now? Does it feel aligned, or is actually something off? Because the body is like sending signals, you know, like when I like notice like, hey, I'm like tensed up, like when I'm feeling it, it's like, wow, like maybe I need to change something here. Like maybe this is actually not, something's going wrong, or so. That could be one thing. Or it could be just, can you create a bit more safety for yourself? Like, can you bring in a bit more allowance? Maybe take a deep breath. Like, yeah, you feel like now the others are attacking you or something, or something, like you feel triggered. But can you take this brief moment, like connect with your body, and then speak more out of this like softness and alignment more, versus like, you know, you're like up, you're like tense, and it's like, no, fuck you, like, what do you mean, like, you need to change, like, why don't you, you know? If we are like not in regulation, we project out, we project all our shit out. Then it's like, then the girl that has repressed sexuality, or the woman, will walk around and shame others for like, I don't know, being like wearing like a short skirt or something. Or the man who doesn't have access to like his sadness, he will like blame his partner, of like, why can't you just be like more logical or something? Like, why do you always have to be so like cryptic or so? Like, can't you just like, I don't know, you know? Like you meet others with like not understanding and feel like they have to change, like there's something wrong with them, with the world. Where really, if you arrive more with yourself, you can see that it's like really nothing is wrong and everything is just fine how it is in this present moment.
And I think the more that you practice that, the better you also get at it. Like I feel it on myself with my boundaries, for example. That's why I said in the beginning, like it's a lot of work, because every time I hold up my boundaries, I get a little bit stronger in that, and like I'm getting a little bit better to also flag when my boundaries are being crossed. So like if like now I've flagged it for 5 times, the next time someone's crossing my boundaries, my response is immediately there, because I'm now already used to react to in a certain way to that. Yeah, so I just lost my train of thought, but basically, yeah, what I wanted to say is that I think every time you do it, the more you pay attention to your body and yourself, and the more you can tune into that, the easier it gets to spot those things, and the less effort, I guess, it takes to feel these emotions. Like if I now need breath work to get into the moment, like maybe if I've done this for 2 months, like in 2 months, I only need like a few breaths to get to that peace in myself, or that like being centered with me, so that I don't have to carry it to the outside or blame other people, but just look at myself and let that be there. And I think once you're aware and you can flag it easily with yourself, then you can learn how to let it flow, right? Yeah.
Beautiful.
But also, I have what you mentioned about feeling, just letting yourself feel the way that your body is feeling. Sometimes this is also a contradiction that I have in my life, that I personally feel like, well, you also you have your own business and you do this kind of stuff, and I feel like sometimes I have to ignore my feelings, because in order to be successful, you cannot just work based on your feelings. This is something that I have. There are, maybe this morning I feel like sleeping, but because I like the podcast, we have a great guest, I do want to record, because I look at the future happiness that I get it. And sometimes I feel like this contradiction ruins a little bit of my intuition, because I'm like, I'm gonna ignore my feeling, but I want to be consistent, so I will do it just because I'm looking at the future. What do you think about this? I'm curious.
I don't think you're asking the right person, because I'm still figuring that out myself. But it's a beautiful thing which you're raising. Like, what's the balance of like, following your intuition, also, following what feels right, like your excitement, and this like actually like mind over body, because you can do that. You can force yourself to do things which you just don't want to, like on some level, you can almost like do like top down, like, no, but I will do this now. So I'm still figuring it out myself, to be honest. What I can say is, for example, for like will, like what you're describing right now is a little bit of like willpower also, like you're like, well, okay, I feel tired. This is not really an emotion, but you're just like, you can like create a will of like, no, I want to do this for the future, and this is important enough for me. I have my values, and this is also what we have as like, humans. We're not just animals who only have our like I don't know, limbic system, but we also have a prefrontal cortex to like, do strategic thinking and follow that. I think it's honestly just about a balance, and yeah, I'm still figuring that out myself, because, for example, like doing like emotional release, I feel like it has really opened me up a little bit, but it has also opened up uncomfortable feelings. So it came with like superpowers, so to say, like being able to do that resonance. But for example, during December, I felt really depressed, or like really low, or like really like, oh shit, what's going on here? Like, I don't want to feel this. Like, I need some help. Like, it's like also bringing out all the uncomfortable things. Like, it's like both ways. Yeah, and
so you feel everything. You feel everything fully. This is
exactly.
Okay.
It's a way of feeling more. So you feel more pleasure.
Yeah.
But you also feel like more uncomfortable things. But in the end, it's cool, because you have a wider spectrum of being human. Like, for example, I feel like I can empathize now more with like people who are like struggling. Before, I would maybe like shut myself off a little bit more, but now I really feel this like deep empathy. When somebody is like sad, I'm like, shit, I feel you, man. Like, sometimes it feels hard. But with this consistency really in like business, I'm still struggling myself. So, I'm like, sometimes I'm a little bit volatile. And so maybe Dennis can, or we can do a mini mastermind now on how to be, I don't know, consistent and also stable. Like for me, like working with emotions, it's also sometimes like, it's really like a roller coaster. It's always like a mini psychedelic trip. When you experience a session, like you have like slight visuals and so on. So I sometimes like struggle to really like ground in like structure and also then my masculine again. So yeah.
Interesting to know also the other side of it. So but I think that's good. Personally, when I don't think life is about happiness. For me, life is about experiencing, and it's about experiencing different emotions. It can be sadness, it can be happiness, it can be being afraid, loneliness, whatever. So I don't look for happiness in life. I look for experiencing life to the fullest. And one of them might be feeling very sad if something sad happens.
Yeah, and I think these come also together. Like sometimes you're sad because a happy experience ended, right? So it's like also would be sad not to be sad because it means it was something that was important to you, or that you treasure, that you enjoyed or that you liked a lot. Value, exactly. Beautiful. Guys, can I just say that I'm extremely happy. I was a bit nervous going into this podcast, to be honest, because I'm like, I'm the only one who knows everybody in the call, and it's the first time that you two are coming together. And I was feeling a bit tense because of it, but actually now I'm extremely happy. And I was feeling this already throughout. I'm like smiling because I don't know. I just like to bring people together and love the vibe that we're creating here. And honestly, I just can't wait to have you two meet in person one day.
Yeah, love that. Yeah,
Maybe in this summer, Leon, Surush.
yeah. That would be great.
Yep. Maybe
For
we
sure.
can be tent neighbors at the gathering, all of us.
But the bigger tent this time.
You're also coming to the gathering, Surush?
I'm trying
I
to
might
go.
go, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Yes. Yeah, with that, and I'm just trying to be a bit mindful of time. But let's also jump into a quick fire. That's how we called it in the past episodes, but honestly, it's not that quick, so it's just a fire.
I like fire. That's good. Fire is good stuff.
And yeah, actually, your podcast is called the Inner Fire Podcast, correct?
Yes.
So also
exactly.
a theme here, maybe. Suresh, did you bring any questions for the quick fire?
Maybe you can start.
I can give it a start. Okay. So maybe to kick it off, is there something that you wish people knew more about you, Leon?
I would wish people see my authenticity, or like see me as a person, but also like see my strengths and see my weakness. Like I love seeing other people fully, and I there's also part of me that loves to like take space and just be seen. But what would be really difficult for me would be like to feel misunderstood or somehow like put in a box or something, which I'm not. So what should they know more about me? I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of joy and a lot of excitement and made cool experiences already, but I'm also like struggling and I'm definitely not perfect. And if I don't know.
That's already good.
If I would meet anybody in person, I would love to just like openly connect and show the vulnerable, like show what's uncomfortable, like just show each other in our humanity, you know. Like I've been looking for like perfect people for some years now, like, you know, with like mentors, especially in like personal development on podcast, you know. It can be so easily to like positively project on like, ooh, the guys are so cool, they're doing a podcast, I'm not that far, you know. But it's just no one's perfect and everybody's on a journey. So yeah, I just want to be authentic and be seen in that.
Great. Should I go for the next one?
Go for it, bro.
What do you think is overrated in the world?
Good question. I don't have a good answer.
Maybe that's the answer.
Nothing is.
Yeah, probably. I feel like no, I really, it's really difficult for me to answer, because one part of me is like,
Sure.
well, nothing is overrated because everything has its place, you know. Like I could say now alcohol is overrated, or fitting in is overrated, or like, you know, like being cool is overrated. I could find like lots of things, but they also have their place, you know. Like it's not inherently bad to drink alcohol. It's just what it is. And I also drank in the past, like when I was in school and so on, because I felt like, hey, I'm really like tight, I'm really in something that I don't like, and so. And then on the weekend, drinking alcohol was like a big relief. Like I could shut off my mind and just have some fun. So okay, I have one thing which is overrated.
Okay.
I think in our society we overrate individualism a bit, and being alone. Like I think this is really overrated. Like
Overrated.
if you find people where you can really connect and be yourself, this is like one of the most beautiful things. And this is the situation where I felt most alive, being with other people, being with other humans, like making beautiful experiences. So I think being alone and being this like strong individual and so on is overrated. And I don't know. Yeah,
I agree with that one.
single room flats are out. Communities and tribes are in. That's what I call it.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful answer.
Hmm. Hmm.
Dennis, you have something else?
Ooh. Yum, 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 yum.
If you
Yeah, I'm
don't,
now thinking.
I have.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
do a
What is
quick one. Wait,
your?
let me ask him one.
Sure.
It's a this or that question. So you have to choose, Leon.
Okay.
Emotional release session with yourself or joining a men's circle.
Emotional release session.
Okay, why?
Emotional release session. Oh, okay. You mean joining a man's circle, like long term?
You have to do one.
Like
You
we
can
are
do
currently
one.
going.
No. Yeah, or just now. Like
Oh,
imagine now I give you two choices.
So I would say for one time, emotional release session is better because it goes deeper. But if you can choose between one session and going to a man's circle like regularly, always choose the man's circle. Like always,
Okay.
always consistency, like always, like every day. So I would say man's circle then. If it's like if you're joining, if you're going again, if you're going every week, if you're going deeper and deeper, because this is really like if you don't integrate in session, it's an experience that can fade away again. But if you like work every week in one direction, it's like so much closer to every day. So man's circle maybe.
All right. Yeah, good thing is that we have both on offer. So for the people who would like a emotional release session, head over to the links in the description and find Leon. And for everyone who would like to join a men's circle, we're actually thinking about creating one on a regular basis online. So we're just checking if that's feasible. So send us a message, DM us on Instagram if you want to be in, and then we keep you on the list. Well, yeah, just a short advertisement in between before I give it to Surush for the last one.
The last one. Okay. I would like to know. By the way, I think we can do another episode. I love this episode. But another day. We already get your promise from you that you will come another day.
For sure.
What is your biggest regret in life, and what is the best decision you think you've made?
That's two, right? Biggest
And
regret, best decision.
If you want to talk about it.
It's really difficult with the regret because on some level I feel like everything is has been in the right way, for me to be here right now. But if I think about regret, like sadness comes up, like just somehow like connecting, being able to connect deeper with others, like play less video games and ask for help earlier, like for somebody to like help me connecting and yeah, I don't know, feeling love, being held, going for this community. Like I feel like much of my life I've been felt very isolated and as an outsider. And yeah, that was also important for me to be here now. But if I could have all the good stuff that I'm having now with changing the past, I would maybe like ask for help or like, yeah, ask for help. Ask for help from other people to connect and help me out of this spot that I put myself in, so to say.
I always find this one difficult because you're also like, I find this one really difficult because if you would regret something, you might also not have made it to the point where you're at right now. And when you're happy with where you're at right now, then all the things you did before that kind of led up to that moment. So it's hard to regret. I don't know. That's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah. Also, like having felt like such an outsider, it was so much easier for me to like go my own way, like go traveling, get out of Germany. Like I was not so held in like such a close social system, but I still struggle with that today, like really like creating like long lasting deep connections. So in the sense I still regret it today of like, man, I wish I could solve this a little bit better. Yeah. And the best decision that I made so far is traveling, going on the world trip, actually by myself. So this is a little bit like an add-on to the thing before. I think spending time alone is also really important. Yeah, to find out more of what you like, like for me it was almost like detaching from all the people that didn't feel so aligned, traveling the world and then getting new inputs like podcasts, speaking with like backpackers, seeing the world, going on adventures. But now I'm like in a phase of wanting to reconnect, in the sense, like reintegrate with community. And now I know myself better. I'm still always changing, but I feel like now I really know who I am more a little bit. Always new things come up. But now I feel like, hey, I want to share with community more again. And so best decision was to go on this world trip. It really changed the outlook, because after school I came out like average Abitur, don't really know what I want to do with my life and so on. Like I have no idea. And then I feel like it has shifted the compass to like, wow, there's so much opportunities. Let's work on myself. And I've been walking down this road more or less with like ups and downs since then. So
that's great. I resonate so much with just what you said. I'm also, the curiosity of me takes me traveling everywhere. And I like the freedom of going alone because I can meet new people, I can do my own thing. But Dennis knows that I also sometimes struggle with having this deep connection with the people that is long lasting. So I understand what you mean. Beautiful. Okay. I think being said, this is the end of this episode.
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, what an episode. Definitely one of the more, I felt a lot more during the recording of this. I also paid more attention to my shoulders, my body in general, what kind of feelings are emerging. Like super interesting also with the resonance check in between. Thank you for your presence, Leon. Thank you for also co-hosting the space with us this time. For opening your world to us, for opening the world of emotional release to us and our listeners. Again, and all the links to Leon's offering, his website, his podcast are in the description of this one. And we're hoping to see you again on the podcast, but definitely also in person sometime very soon, Leon. Thanks again. And wherever you are listening to this episode, I hope you're having a great day. Lots of love from all of us. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.